telepathic. I am not, or I'm not remembering yet. I'm still on my path of learning. Seriously though, if you can feel them, just feel. I know they've been working before we even arrived today. And they've been working all week, so if you were called to come, if you had, you know, if you're here to see Noah and Adriana, there's a reason. So I'm Mom, and this is Dad. And 2016, we found facilitated communication. They're both non-speaking with autism. With facilitated communication. Yes. Laugh out loud. I am Adriana. Actually, let's switch. Use this. You're running low on battery. Okay. All right, turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
Really love this.
Yeah, really love this. Okay, so in 2016, we found facilitated communication, which is a letterboard. The founder was Rosemary Crosley. She passed this month at age 78, I believe. We met her in Putin Bay, Ohio. You say they don't want to hear all that? Yes, okay. If you want to hear it later, I'll explain it later. But the point was, we lost Rosemary. What I thought I was feeling for was muscle movement. They are both power lifters. And with facilitated communication, initially in 1978, Rosemary was typing with someone with cerebral palsy. So the muscle movement was a lot different. And I don't know when she switched to autism, because with my children, they're very strong, and you wonder why they can't point to the letter on their own. But it's a muscle movement. So we'll skip ahead to 2020. I was facilitating with Noah, and all of a sudden, it wasn't his words coming out. It was my dad, who passed 15 years before. And he started throwing himself on the floor. And it was like he was possessed because, well, he was. And I didn't know what was going on. So this story is kind of hard to tell out in, you know, the regular world, especially in autism world where they didn't understand this communication anyway. So it's like, okay, I had this ability where I could go up to any non-speaker with autism and I could get communication. All right, well, Noah was reading my thoughts and other people were coming through, and it's like, okay, they don't believe this, how are they going to believe this? So once the pandemic hit, we found out they have energy abilities. And so, this book came out, The Ancestors Within. I find people that have met my children before. Long story, we went to a show. He was going to be introduced by a medium in Louisville, Kentucky. We live in Fishers, Indiana. And there was a show in Noblesville, and Noah and Adriana like, let's go to this show. He said, Mom, you're going to be so out of your element, of course, because I don't know anything about the energy. And we met the lead author, Amy Gillespie Doherty, and he connected with Adriana, or with Amy. You want to share any of this? No. Dad never wants to help out on this part. So this is during the pandemic, so there's nobody there. It's like just other healers. And so for some reason we had to wait 20 minutes to meet Amy. She'd come from Virginia, and she had an iridology thing where she sees ancestors in your eyes. She blows up big pictures of your eyes. Really cool. Well, Noah and Amy connected, and she's like, oh, I feel him in my heart. And I'm thinking, all right, what is this? You know, crazy lady. You know, I found a lot of crazy people at this time because, like I said, not my world. About a month later, she sent me a text and said, we want Noah in this book about ancestors. And it's like, what does he know about ancestors? And she's like, oh, there's a lot. Well, that began our story. So he is chapter 4 in the blue book, first in the series of this. But the Zoom call, back to the beginning. If you can feel energy and you feel Noah and Adriana, Noah already said the message, just ignore mom, just feel. So, but if you want to hear the story, go ahead and listen to me. I'll just keep rambling on. So the first Zoom call for the authors, remember I'm facilitating so I'm feeling for his muscle movement. We're writing a chapter. And so it'd be interesting if you get a chance to read his chapter. But 25 authors in each of the books. So on the Zoom call, there was 25 and me. And this one girl is going, hi Noah, hi Noah. And so my special needs world, I'm thinking, oh, she has Tourette's. And she said, Noah, are you telepathic with anyone other than your mom? And so I look at Noah and I facilitate. Mom's not telepathic. So she calls right after the meeting, they connect, and that's kind of where this world just really opened up. And so when she's laughing, she has something to say. Yes. Laugh out loud. My chapter. Okay, my chapter. So you can see the body control a lot different for Adriana than Noah. And Noah, I don't know why he's in the audience. He did this the last show too, where he's supposed to be the main event, but the last, I don't know, I'd say even, well, I guess since her chapter came out, she's really started to open up and show her gifts. So Noah's been giving her the stage, although they're both working, the energy. So anyway, Adriana's chapter came out. The girl that connected with Noah from the first book, Melissa, she's chapter 2 of the first book, she channeled for Adriana because I wasn't understanding anything that was going on. She's talking about stale energy, moving that around, the astral travel, and all these things. And I know you've read the chapter, so you could probably explain it. So feel free to step in if you want. Anybody that knows more than me, which is probably everybody here, just feel free to jump in. But it was channeled, so did you want the energy healing? No? Okay. So never had that happen. Usually they said, like I said, just tune me out. Don't walk out because they're still working. Anyway, where do I go from here? That just kind of threw me. So hers was channeled. I did have to tie it in with facilitated communication to edit and make sure I understood. But it's just been a learning path ever since then. I should just ask you. What did you want to say about, yes. XOXO, that's from Noah. Yeah. XOXO. All right. Okay, double thumbs up. I don't even know what I asked. I don't know what I asked. Shoot. Oh, I think I asked all of you. Are you feeling it? I guess I should have asked that. Yes. Okay. How many of you feel energy? Okay. How many of you feel my children? How many are ignoring me? Okay. When we came here in September, it was our first time, coming here. I kind of call it the land of mediums because in the energy show we've been doing, it's been more of a mix of people. And I wasn't sure if the energy was going to be too much, especially for Adriana, but she thrived. I mean, it was amazing because people get her. I'm getting more of the chills, which is really cool. Very validating because I'm still on my learning path. But for her to sit and be still, that's when we know she's working because she's usually very loud. definitely been the last couple of months, I'd say, that people have felt her as intensely or more intense than Noah. Yes. Laugh out loud.
So no me assis about sales.
Like, laugh out loud. Good job, Mom. I think she's done with me though.
Oh.
Oh yeah, really got this. Yeah. Okay, so she's working. Like I said, if anyone wants to chime in and explain, that's fine. No. And I know there's significance for that. Anybody know? Anybody know? I asked him if it was more people coming in. He said yes, but
I wonder if he's grounding, maybe with his feet.
there we go.
Or,
Is it?
Or releasing some energy, maybe.
Is it now? Are you grounding? Yes. Yes. Because there's a lot of energy in here, isn't there? And they definitely work off of each other. I have drawings of their auras on our sign at our booth. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Where hers is the swirling energy, and I don't always know how to explain that. And then she has the funnel of the download of information, which is why her body's just always, like I said, this is incredible to know her because she's usually very loud and, but yeah, when they're working off of each other, and then Noah has the direct connect. But yeah, any questions, comments? Yes.
I work at an autism center with kids that are 6 through 21 and they're incredibly violent.
Yes.
So what can I take or learn from here that would help these kids or just help us?
Yes, you're exactly who I can help, and
Yeah.
I get so excited because it's like they can help everybody else. I can connect to that. What happened at the pandemic for us, and I want to give you this just to make sure you don't leave without this. What happened at the pandemic? Our community, which I say the non-speakers, began getting very violent, and I didn't know what was going on. Like I said, with him, where my dad came through and he threw himself on the floor, that was the beginning of the pandemic. That was April 23rd, 2020. It was on my dad's birthday. He had passed 15 years before. But the reason I knew it was the whole community, so I'm looking into energy, trying to figure out what this was. I was facilitating for another man that doesn't get the communication very often, because it's just a niche skill, I'd say. I mean, you definitely have this the facilitated communication. It requires the touch, and so people don't really understand it. It took me about 3 months to get the connection, but I'm doing double duty. I had 2 kids, and these are my own kids, so a lot of times it's the teachers doing that, but if you're not doing it all the time, you're not gonna connect. And then I didn't feel energy, or so I thought. So I didn't think I would be able to connect, and they're always just feel. Long story, we would be able to come in and help, but they were they'll help ground the energy is what happens. Well, anyway, I got bit by this other man, and I knew I could communicate, and for me, it's like, well, I can communicate, I'm not afraid to tap in, that's what the issue is. No, it wasn't, there was something else. And so a week after I got bit, and it was in someone's energy office, and so people kind of hypothesized that, well, they had all these crystals there, or they didn't clear. No, they knew what they were doing, but the autism was something different. And I'll never know if I might play the piano. And so anyway, about a week later, she starts hitting, like karate chopping. And, hey, Noah, you wanna come back? Okay, so we were finding there was some kind of shift in the energy. Hey, Noah, communication, and then we're finding that autism isn't what we thought, or at least for them and all the people that I've tapped into, it's like they all have this same gift, especially the non-speakers, but it's calming the body, that kind of thing. Trying to figure out which one of them wants to tell
There's
me.
flyers in her purse.
Huh?
There's flyers in her purse.
Well, I guess I'm right here too.
I didn't.
Yeah. Let me check in with them. We definitely want to meet with that community. Yes. Laugh out loud. So, yeah. So much. Yeah, there's, oh my gosh. So there's this man, Nick, that had just passed on Monday. Oh gosh, I gotta tell you this story. So at my booth, I have all these, I've got this like flip thing, a flip board, where I have all these like flyers. And I have like past like trying to explain what they do. Well, I have Rosemary Crosley's memorial, which is this facilitated communications. We lost her about 2 weeks ago. The timing of all this. So message I got on Monday at the grocery store after they had done this 4 minute. Did you see the meditation thing where there are 4 minutes on my Facebook? They're both just sitting there, and so I caught like caught the last 4 minutes of it. It was probably 10 minutes. They're just sitting, staring, and it's like they're working on something big, and I didn't know what it was, so I shared it. We ran into a friend at the store that was a mom of a non-speaker. He died 4 years ago. This is a long story, so sorry if I'm boring you, but it's, oh my gosh. So message at the store to the mom. Jeremy, the man who had died, wanted to hug mom through Adriana because she's strong like her. Well, that was a first because usually they come through Noah. So women will, there was one woman, her adult son had passed, and so she saw the son in Noah's eyes, got a hug. Husbands, and it's always Noah. So that was the first of this, and it was a friend that we actually knew, so very powerful. When I came to Noah, he said, this is divine timing for Jeremy and Laura. So it wasn't Jeremy because he spoke his name, so I didn't know who it was coming from. It wasn't Noah because it was a divine message. So then when I got back home, I saw the message that this Nick had died. Well, someone had shared a message or shared a video from 2016, timing again, because that's when they started communicating. It was a boy, actually same age as Adriana, that used a form of facilitated communication. If you've seen the movie Spellers, it's similar. So you hold the board and the people will point and type. Well, from my perspective, it's very labored. Yes, we want to get them to do it on their own. I can go a lot faster just because of the energy, but people aren't going to believe it. Very complicated. Anyway, in this video I was watching, he was meeting with mediums. And it's like, okay, there's that divine timing that we're talking about, because I've said this whole time since 2020, it's like, oh my gosh, the mediums understand what I'm doing. Because I'll be like typing, I'm like, tell me, what do you see? What am I doing? Because I'm just touching, I let go, and all of a sudden they're like A, B, C, D. I touch them and they're like, wow, this is great, I can communicate. I'm not doing anything, I don't have this special skill, but I'm their conduit for conversation. So, to just the fact that you're here and you're with the autism community, you can help be that bridge, because there is definitely something here. I'm just mom, I'm just learning from them. And if you can see Noah, stand up and turn around so they can see your face. Okay, now get a smile out just like you were. So he sits up here all smug doing this work, and they'll let me ramble on, and I'll hit the right things that I'm supposed to be talking about. Otherwise, I'm really boring a lot of you. But hopefully you're feeling the energy, because I know this is supposed to be energy healing session. And I know they're working, but I don't always know what they're working on.
So could I ask,
Yes.
Are they able to communicate with only you or through any of us that work as mediums?
That's the key. They can communicate, yes, as mediums, yes. And I'm getting the chills, because you can get more conversation than I can. And she gets this because... Yes, we need you. Yes, because they are the teachers. but they can teach in conjunction with all of you, especially the people that have that niche, and that's what I need, because I'm just crazy mom. You know, they look at me like, all right, you know, you're doing this, you're pushing them into, you know, all that, and I can tell you stories and stories and stories. And going back to the communication, smug smile up here if you can see it, but it's, oh my gosh. Because Noah the whole time has been like, you don't need words, and I apologize for mom being so chatty, and you know, we all need to be telepathic, and it's like, oh my gosh. We have a third child. Our oldest son has what they call Asperger's syndrome. They stopped calling it that, but it's definitely a thing. He's definitely different than them. Very black and white, very, well, they call that the high functioning, but he's the first to tell you he's not the high functioning. They are. But I was talking to another mom earlier today about her daughter, and we were talking, it's like, no, they probably do have the abilities just like they do. And it's this epiphany, because I was thinking older son doesn't have that. Well, we don't know how he sees things, and he doesn't know that we don't see things the way he does. So that's kind of the next venture in this, that whole spectrum, and then the people that are seeing things differently and feeling the energy. You know, if we can understand that, which explains a lot of her body movement. Am I on the right track, Noah? Yeah, okay, good, thumbs up. And it's been very helpful with him, thumbs up, thumbs down, because, am I on the right track? Yes, good, oh, that's cool. Usually she'll go back and forth, and that was always okay, that's why you have to give that resistance. And that's what we do, we start with yes, no, and on that, but if you're already a medium and you're already feeling energy, oh my gosh, we can skip a lot of this stuff, and it's true, it's not gonna go back to that energy, you know, that, the letter board, because the people that are doing, like on the movie Spellers, where they're pointing to it, yeah, ideally we'll get to that, but if they can go right to it, and then that's that muscle movement, and that's not my area to try to explain, but as far as the energy, like I said, you're ahead of me on this, and that's definitely what they wanna do, is get that communication out. Gosh, what else? Anything? Give me questions. Yes.
So I'm curious, what, now that there are, you know, like devices that they're able to use
Yes.
more independently, what is the difference? Like, what is the benefit of the facilitation in this case?
In ours, it's still that mind-body disconnect, where, and some people, and that's the thing, the people that are using what they call RPM, S2C, spelling to communicate, especially if you teach them young and you can get their body to do it. But like I said, normally she was going back and forth, and it's like, so you give that and then she'll push through. So, and then that I think is something we can figure out through energy as well on that. And there's people that have different expertise in the different areas. Me just working with the two of them, Noah is more precise about doing that, and he'll give you thumbs up, thumbs down, but the voice still doesn't match. So he used to speak in what they call echolalia, where he would repeat and then say phrases, use it, but when this energy came out, he completely repressed the voice because it's not coming out the way he wants it. So researchers on that area, you know, we could do something, but if everybody's to be telepathic at some point, which I think this is the area to talk about that may be why it's going that way. I was told, or they've even said that they chose to come in this way to, you know, change the world and get it the way it was supposed to be. But that's something we would have to ask them. And I get the Cliff Notes version of it, so the people that can connect directly with them, feel free. Hang on. Yes. Am sure you know who you are. Yeah, I don't know. But if you do know, and yeah, feel free to speak up, because we're looking to do collaboration. We actually had a workshop at our house. Was that last month, 2 months ago? Something like that. It was some people that had come up, they were drawn to our booth, drawn to Noah, and they do your Find Your Path workshops. And they were looking for a place to do it, and it's like, you know what, I've been wanting to do this for autism, and then for me, trying to figure out, how can I meditate, how can I get out of my own head and that kind of thing, which is why I'm still on my path, because I've got to help people get there as well. So we decided, well, let's just do it at our house. And it was amazing. I mean, we had, I think, 5 people that were coming in to pay the teachers that were there, but they got so much more out of it. And the teachers that were there connected with Noah and Adriana, and it was just that perfect collaboration. So we definitely want to do that again, and we can fine tune it to your autism spectrum, and especially if they're violent, that kind of thing. They do powerlifting, and we have friends that are powerlifters that know them, which is pretty cool. We're gonna go to the Nationals in Memphis, Tennessee. We have no connections there, so if you know somebody in Memphis, Tennessee, that's a great place for us to start, because these will be people coming in, powerlifters coming in, and if they get to connect with Noah and Adriana, who are not competing as adaptive, because they don't have it right now. They are the state medal earners in adaptive powerlifting, but national doesn't have it because there's too many varieties of adaptive. But we're gonna be there working energy. But those are the people that we can connect that have the muscle, but also have the heart and understanding, and they can connect with that. Those are the ones that can help hold the body, you know, while we get the grounding under control. But I think for the most part, they can help with that grounding. But I think the problem with the autism, a lot of times the kids are on medications, and that's when I've found where people have become violent, and when they've been able to type with me, they're like, you know, my body doesn't feel right, or my body's not acting right, you know, that kind of thing. So it's just figuring out how to get past that, and that's where a lot of the energy work and the meditation, the different modalities that you can use can help with that too. And then that goes with anything, with the anxiety, and so there's a lot. But yeah, anyone who wants to collaborate. We live in Fishers, Indiana, but we do travel. The shows we've been doing are in Louisville, Elizabethtown, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio, Florence, Kentucky. We have connections in Minnesota, which are from the Ancestors Within. We know 3 authors up there. I think 3. 2 or 3. Where else? Where else have we been?
That's it.
Yes.
Can you ask them questions?
You can, yeah, sure.
Okay, are you guys channeling someone right now, and if so, who is that?
I'm waiting for a thumbs up from Noah. I would take that as a yes. Oh, sorry. Upside down. Yes. Laugh out loud. Feel. Good. Vibes. This person feels me now. Okay, she's very strong. I might have to switch people. So is there someone feeling Adriana or feeling her energy with someone else? Yeah, kind of complicated. Or someone that can translate for us. Anybody. Otherwise I'm gonna check in Noah. I'm gonna check in with Noah. Because his body is easier to do this with. Right, is that okay? Alright. Okay. Let's see what we got.
You stand by you man! You stand.
IOMG, feel people see me so strongly, find my energy here.
Well, that's
I'm guessing that's the person that.
Feel your heart, I am there.
Does that make sense to anybody? Several people? Yes. Good job. Mom. Being discreet. Okay. He's never asked anyone, or never been asked that before, but whoever it is you'll feel is the message I'm getting from that, and just come, and then he will finish that conversation. We've actually been to, what do they call them? Galleries. Some of them call them galleries, so because we have friends that are mediums and they've done their thing, and it's like, we've never actually done that's neat. He's giving me the smile on that, because usually they just do the energy healings on this, and we do the individual mediumship just as he kind of so chooses. I think that's more than grounding. I don't know. That's pretty cool. But yes, he can do that, and usually it's on an individual, and then he can have that conversation. Sometimes it's a little lengthy though, depending on, but we're just right out here. So whoever felt that in their heart, just come, and we'll be here tomorrow too. And then we live in Fishers, and then this kind of thing, I've discovered we can do it on Zoom. And initially with the facilitated communication, I needed the touch, for my part of it. But then when I found out they're telepathic and everything else, they can do that. They've also been known to appear in dreams, sometimes with your loved ones, and they'll bring messages that way. Because otherwise, like I said, I'll get kind of the cliff notes, unless I'm typing with Noah, and then he'll get that message out, if that makes sense. Make sense? Yeah? That way we have time to get to everybody. So hopefully that message was kind of generic for several people. I don't know, but you'll know. Is that helpful at all? A little bit? Okay,
yeah.
and then like I said, we can go on and do that later too. Anybody else? Like I said, if you feel, just tune me out and just feel. That works too. But if you have questions, ask. Especially autism community. Oh, and then beyond autism. Okay, but yeah, I'm excited about the autism because we can definitely do that. But in several cases, they've channeled for people that were crossing over twice. Those are kind of cool stories. I can fill you in on those. Yes, I'll do a book at some point. People keep saying you need to do a book, but it's like I just keep reiterating these stories, but I'm hoping these friends will tell their own stories because they can get different details than what I have. But they've channeled for people that didn't have a voice for other disabilities. One was very validating. It was a boy that was shot at a birthday party when he was 12. And so his mother, he's 18 now, completely in a wheelchair. His mom had just taken him this year to a facility. And out of the blue, Adriana starts typing, "Mama, it's more special when I see you now. You get to have your own life." She started crying because the day before her church had prayed for communication for her. She had no idea that it was a friend of a friend because of the special needs community. We have a friend that does special needs clothing, adaptive clothing. It's a woman that had lost her son that was wheelchair bound from birth. And we just had that connection. A lot of stories. But this one, he had a voice up until he was 12. So she knew it was him. Where other times, it's people that don't have the voice ever that people don't believe because they don't know what that child, would sound like. But this is someone that, had a voice. And it's like, yeah, I knew they could do that, which means they can also do that with people in comas or because they're mediums. They, whatever, Back to the story about the Nick that just passed. The video that I was shown talked about him meeting with mediums, and that he wanted to meet with people in comas and do all this. So Mom wants to continue that work. But as far as I know, it was only the people in Long Island, New York that knew about that, and the mediums that were there. So I've been trying to reach out to those people too, because this is what they've been doing. And it's like, it's time we can get this out. We've got a lot going on, and we're reaching a lot of people, and we can validate what we're doing. And that's the thing that I was so excited about meeting with mediums, because it's like, for communication, it's like, I can validate what I do, because you can go to another medium or a telepath, anybody, and you're gonna get that same message. And it's like, if there's enough of us that can do that and can validate what we do, that's gonna help so many people. Noah's making a face. I don't know if he's getting ready to sneeze. She's laughing. So, any other questions? Oh. How you doing on time? Oh, we're so good. So, anybody feeling anything? Good. Love that. Yes.
I have a question. Have you heard other people mention like getting like a sense of warmth and a sense of cool, like
Yes.
counterbalancing
Yes.
kind of?
And I've got a lot of story, and I'm getting chills all over on that one. So on our banner that's out there, I've got some pictures that I had stuck on from a couple of shows, because I had this white space, and I was like, I'm gonna stick those there, and I've left them there. Well, one of them, and I've got a video I can show people later if they're interested. The first person that Noah had done a hands-on with, not an energy person, it was, well, the special needs community, again, the people that do the clothing. It was the person that actually sews, Monica. So we were at a disability show last weekend, helping out the clothing line. The first time, it was 2 years ago, this woman was on a walker, and Noah put his hand on her leg, and she's like, that feels like an ice pack. And then he did it again, now it feels like a heat pack. And this is the very first time. And it's like, she made an appointment the next weekend to meet with him, and we weren't doing any, this is, still during the pandemic, so that's, how new. She was able to walk out without the walker, and she came to our house, and then we had the friend Melissa from the book. She called on the way in, and she always does it. She knows when something's going on. She's like, Noah checked in with me. What do you need? It's like, well, I don't know. This person's coming to our house, and he just did this healing, and so it's like, why am I telling you? You must already know. And she was able to channel the sister that she'd lost, and all these things, and that's when I'm learning, I can do all of this remotely, well, with friends. But she had checked in. But so this same woman, last year, she was on a couch in her assisted living home. She couldn't get up. We went over to her house, and Noah did hands-on for like an hour, just doing things. So I have the picture in the booth where he was sitting working with her, and then she was able to get up at the end. She was just so excited. But it's funny, she had a rag, a do-rag, whatever, on her hair, and she's like, I didn't even recognize myself, because at this last show, she was dressed to the nines, and because she's, makes all the designer clothing and things, and she was walking around, and she's like, has anyone been working on me, because I've been feeling great? And it's like, yeah. So I've got videos where he's doing a little healing thing on her too, but she's the first one to mention the hot and the cold. But first meeting with Amy, the lead author, she felt in the heart, and it's like, in almost every show, people come up and they're like, I just feel the warmth in my heart, and it's like, that just kind of was the thing. It's like, he's always, touching the heart first, but then, it's just different. Does anyone feel the heart, or anyone feel something else? Feel the heart,
Root chakra.
Okay, root chakra, which is that's why he is doing, you were right on that. So, and that's what I love about this, because they'll be doing these things, and it's, I don't know what they're doing, but they know what they're doing. You know what they're doing. So, I thought my husband had a question for a second. It's like, he doesn't even help answer these questions. He's smiling, he's laughing. So, any other questions, or?
Is it okay if I share my experience?
Yes, please, yes.
So I was around there, I saw him wander back to his booth, and then I saw the sign about autism and what they do, and I don't even know if I've shared most of this with you, what happened like later on, but, I did my first Reiki booth at Good Journeys in Noblesville, and just happened to be set up, the next booth over around the corner was theirs, and they were there on a Sunday. I got like a lull in my day and just felt this like guidance to go over to talk to them.
And Noah tagged, I finally
Yeah.
met you in person or something.
Noah said it, so I remember seeing you at, Chesterfield.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to finally meet. He came to me in a dream between these different time periods. And when I tapped into his energy, it was just such a loving presence. And so a few months later, my 2-year-old was in the hospital. He was really sick, and he ended up having to get a transfusion, and things were looking good for a while, but that night took a turn. And I felt an urge to kind of connect with Noah and kind of connected with him mentally and prayed over my son because his fever was going up, and that meant we had a longer stay in the hospital. So I was terrified. I prayed, and right after I prayed, my son, there was a jolt of energy I could feel go through his body, a physical like shake. And within hours, his fever went down. And I think that was Noah connecting and healing, using his energy to heal him. So, even before that, so I also have their books, the Ancestors Within. Before that, I've been like guided to work with my own ancestors. I've felt pulled to work with the autism community, so I don't know. I just feel like they have a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to see what you all continue to do.
Thank you.
Glad to see you.
Yeah, I love when people can actually come in and tell their story, since I remember, it's like, oh my gosh, especially about your son when that happened, that was so cool. So yeah, we've been connected on Instagram and Facebook, and yeah, I just love it. Once he makes that connection, I always say it's like he's planting those seeds, he stays with you, which is very cool. And then I don't always know unless someone texts me and tells me, which I love when she does that. It's so validating on my end too, because I don't always know. But yeah, you should see the face. It's like he's like reliving. He's like seeing all that, or he went home and checked on your kids. Because he gets that serious look. Can people feel Adriana now?
Yes, pals, but you love me too. You're so much.
She's like, of course they can, Mom.
Yes, pals, but you love me too. You're so much. Yes, pals, but you love me too. You're so much.
I think he's more subtle.
Yes,
She's
pals,
more
but you love me
abrupt,
too.
isn't she?
You're so much. Yes, pals, but you love me too. You're so much.
Yes. Laugh out loud. I'm a, strong woman. Yes. It is. I say the gym, whatever I lift, she lifts twice what I do. So Joe bumped me up a little bit on my bench press, and it's like, all right, yeah, which is funny because she was already doing way past halfway, or twice what I do. Which is very cool. Which reminds me, she's in a contest, so please connect with us on social media. It's a magazine, it's Ms. Muscle and Fitness, and she's first in her group, which come June. Yes, please, yeah. Yes, please. So she's first in her group because we, of course, have the authors from the Ancestors Within, so I knew I had a pretty good fan base to get her there. But come June, they reset the votes once the first round. So there was 50 women, now it's down to 15, then it goes to 10, then 5, and then so she's been number 1 this whole time in her group. I don't know how many groups. But the end result is $20,000 and to be on a magazine, a fitness magazine. No, I know, not super fit, but she is super strong, which is why I put her the strong mind and body, because just imagine the reach of a fitness magazine. It's like, okay, they don't know about the autism. They don't know about the energy. And that's the manipulating, moving the stale energy that she talks about in her book, isn't it, I think? Or some of it. Or it's the light language. Who does light language here, anybody? Because there's a vocal light language that she responds to. Oh, and the only time that I really heard her do the light language was with the crystal skull. People know about the crystal skull.
Oh,
Yeah. So, of course, I knew nothing about that, but it was in Louisville 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Crystal Skull was visiting. So Adriana and I go in first because Noah's doing his thing in his booth. We went in, and the caretaker of the skull said, come on up. And he talked to me, and he's like, you have important work to do. I'm like, oh no, it's my kids. And so then all of a sudden she goes into light language. It's like, what? And so the caretaker, talking through the skull, and it's funny because it's like, he's talking for the skull, I'm talking for my daughter, and they're like, wow, she has a gift. It's like, oh, you gotta be Noah. So, and that was before she really started doing more of this. So Noah gets to go at the end of the show back to the show. Everyone is in a different room, and we're walking back, and everyone's like stepping away. They let Noah touch the skull. Noah, autistic child that could easily pick it up and throw it. It's like, he's like, oh no, he connects with it, and he did, and it was so powerful. But little things like that it's like maybe not little, but yeah. And so the caretaker, I can't remember his name, the caretaker. So we're connected with him, so they've made plans to go find the other skull, because they're like, oh yeah, it's at the bottom of a volcano, nobody can get it. And then, so he's telling his stories, this man that tours around just sense their reactions. Yeah, I still have a little fear. Yes. So, since then, the caretaker of the skull, he asked if we knew Lyrica. And it's like, I know, the autism community and all that, and I knew I had connections, but I didn't know it was that connection. I'm thinking it's the autism connection. Well, on the Gaia network, Gaia, I always say it wrong. We were able to pull up the Autism Collective with Lyrica and Gail, and it's like, oh my gosh, they've been connected with them for years, and it shows where she met with the crystal skull, so everything that he had said was validated, because he's like, oh, I've already met someone like Noah and Adriana, and it's like, so it's that, little niche again. It's like, there are people out there like that. So the Nick that I mentioned that just passed, same, they connect, and it's like, there are so many more of these that, and which is why I'm here, to learn and figure this out, and I need help from everybody else, so all of you that have stayed through all this, it's like, you get us. Thank you. She's like, I'm still working, Mom. Which I just love how Noah sits back, and because as I sign up for these different things, I'm like, yeah, Noah's doing this, and then she gets really mad at me because it's like, no, she's the one doing. No, you want to stand up, help her? No, I'm helping. One of the other things, so the first medium that we connected with, she had given me some videos on Brazzo, the gazer. And because people have compared him to it, so I never heard, and I don't know if any of you had heard, he's from Croatia. And he is verbal, but he will stand and just gaze. And I thought, well, that's kind of what Noah does, but. That's kind of how I envisioned, him doing. Sometimes instead of me rambling on, just letting him do his thing. But then she does the same thing. Anybody know about Brazzo? Yeah. Is it similar? From what you feel or what you? Yeah.
Earlier when he stood and then I was visualizing him connecting energy.
Yeah.
Right. It reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah. Right. I'm getting chills on that. Yeah, I share it every once in a while because it's like, but anyone in our circle, no one's, well, because I guess he doesn't come here because he's still over there, but during the pandemic he would do the lives where he would gaze, and it's like, I always wonder, and I would like them to meet at some point because I figure they probably connect, but it may be on, that soul level that, physically Brazzo may not know or whatever. But. And the beauty with them, if you have questions, just ask them your head and they'll, give you their answer. But like I said, if you need a physical answer, come and sit with us. Yes. Love to sit with people and share, go ahead, more, yeah. And the thing is, I still use my Autism Foundation, so I'm still a nonprofit. They work on how they work, and it's like, I can't just charge people, especially at the grocery store where I know they're working on people, and so it's like, every once in a while people donate, or I'll tell people buy books, or it's that reciprocal, but more than anything, it's just share the stories and tell, and then they, like I said, they really like to connect and share, so yes.
Have you had them in like an autism center with other kids, and if yes, what was that experience like for the other kids, or?
That's where I would like to go at this point. Getting the chills on that, because when they found the facilitated communication, we had to move across town. We were in Avon. We'll back up. We went to, oldest one graduated from Plainfield. We lived in the UK, in England, from 2008 to 2010. So of course that's before communication, yes. And then we moved back, but because everything was so small over there, we downsized. And then as the kids got bigger, it's like, no, we need to, because we have 3, and they're, the older one is bigger than Adriana, 6 foot, 300 pound, But so then we moved to Avon and found the facilitated communication, but Avon was not on board. So we had to move to Fishers, Indiana, because Hamilton Southeastern was the only one allowing this. They actually had an event called Jake Fest, and it was in memory and in honor of another boy that had typed. And of course, since then, getting the chills, because I know Mom still followed, Mom and twin sisters got to know the kids. We never got to meet him, but we knew the family, and so we know he connects. But as of last year, they stopped doing it. They aged out at the pandemic, or Noah was aging out of the pandemic. They were taking only 3 classes. Well, he started real high school classes at age 18. And so they can only go to 22, but because facilitation, it was, labored and took a long time, but they went right into psychology, biology, those kind of classes. And I wondered the whole time if he was reading his facilitator's mind, because this was a brilliant man that had actually been a facilitator for Jake. And so he'd already been through all that, and so it was just that perfect fit where Adriana got someone new, and she was basically teaching the person how to facilitate. Oh, that goes back to the question of Can they type or communicate with everyone else? Yes, the mediums definitely, the facilitation if they're trained. So it's still the people that are doing, the spellers that do the, where they're holding the board and pointing. There's still a process to that. My thing is, because I'm already a facilitator, it's like it would be backwards for me to go and figure out how to do that, and I can already communicate. So it's getting the people, the teachers, and the general public to be able to communicate with them. I can communicate with everyone, but I can't get everyone to do what I do. So same thing as the mediums, those, yes?
I just wanna say, you said you weren't telepathic, but that was my next question. Is how general, like, how we could get certified or
Yes.
the process of learning.
Getting the chills on that, because yes, they will have me keep rambling on, and they'll make fun of me. It's like, you're talking, and then that is not the first time someone had said, oh, you answered that before I asked. But yeah, ideally, so if people are not already mediums, are not already telepathic, it's figuring out how to get in there. So they're prompt dependent. It's the mind-body disconnect. So that's where we still have it. I still see everything as more of a workshop setting, and that's how I learned to do facilitated communication. So it's for me getting with the people that do the S2C, S2C, which is spelling to communicate, RPM, same type of thing. So it's all related to facilitated, but it's just getting them to do it on their own. So you're teaching the muscle movement. So they're just trying to, for me, I want to get kind of a shortcut, because like with Noah and Adriana, they're not going to want to go through all those basic steps, although they're willing to teach. But it's trying to get, and so when they were at Hamilton Southeastern, we actually tried to teach facilitation to some of the kids. Some of them get it, and then I think now looking back, it's like, oh, those are the ones that are empaths, they're intuitive. So then it's, yes, teaching this community, because then you can tap in, and it's like whether you're tapping in with your mind or start yes, no, yes, we can do that. And so, and that's, like I said, the great way to start, yes, no, and I do have like a choice board out there. So it's still the basic way to start, because ideally they want people that can communicate. Ideally they want everybody to be telepathic, but yes, we can do that, and that's something I would love to set up. So.
Have you asked them, and maybe you already said this, do they believe that all nonverbal or all people on the spectrum are energy healers and connecting to other realms? Like,
What do you think, Noah?
what's the answer there?
I'm waiting for Noah's thumbs up here. Come over here. Oh, did you see it? Yeah, we got 2 thumbs up, so he says yes. You go turn around. Yeah. Do you think all non-speakers are connected telepathically? Well, you talk about the, what should we call it? The, I know it, look at you, you're not gonna give me an answer though. Lyrica, what would they call it? The collective.
Yeah.
I've heard it called the autism collective. Is that true? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, so helpful, yes or no.
Yeah.
But I hate when it's like, do you want to give me a hug? And he'll be like, no. And it's like, what?
Oh, he
And
does.
then he's like, yes.
He
And then
does.
he'll be like, yes. He's like messes with mom all the time. But sometimes people will ask and he'll be like, no, and it's like, well, sometimes it's too much energy because.
It's good though that they
Yes.
can say no. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I teach my kids too.
Yeah.
You don't have to give a hug. So.
And then Adriana, on the other hand, she's very powerful. She'll knock people over and she's very gentle. And
Yeah.
so-
Well, I'm excited for them to just be discovered and to have the respect that they deserve because they are
Thank you. Actually, it looks like, do we have someone at 3 probably? Yeah. Okay, yep, all right. Well, we'll stay for the 3 o'clock. Oh, what? You good? All right.